Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. Now I'm your host, Jeff Marconette Jr., the award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. Now here on this show, we'd like to help other people get from where they are to where they want to be. So don't feel bad if you have to ask questions. If you're curious about anything, I would be happy to get them answered for you. Now, we want to have more of a conversation instead of making a presentation. That's why I want your questions. So, I thank you guys so much for joining me. And remember, we're here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where we help you. Now, I ask you if you please share this video out, invite all kinds of people to watch it, because we have a very, very, very powerful guest tonight in Diana Ash. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a minute. So I'd like to bring her up, and we'll go ahead and let her introduce herself. Hey, Diane.
Hello.
Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a
It
minute.
happens. Thank you so much for introducing me and bringing me on the show, Jeff. It's an honor. I've been looking forward to this all day, so thank you so much.
Yes, not a problem. I'm going to be inviting some people on my phone and things here for a minute. But if you would like to tell everybody a little about yourself, like who you are, where you're from, what you do, and more importantly, why you do what you do.
Okay, sure. I'd be happy to do so. So, my name is Diana Ash. I am from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I am a public servant, so I have been working in the field of human resources for the last 10 years. Have enjoyed that. Part of that has been because I like working with people. And in the last little while, I actually became a franchise owner in the health and wellness industry with a focus on a mentorship program where our focus is really on helping and serving others. And how I got into this is pretty much given the challenges that I've gone through over the last few years with battling ovarian cancer, not once, but twice. So that really changed my perspective on life and sort of what I wanted to do with my life. And it made me realize that my purpose here is a bit more and that I want to give back and sort of help people along the way, not just with cancer, but everything sort of that is a challenge in people's lives. I've struggled in the past growing up with mental health challenges. I've had family members struggle with mental health challenges. That's something that I've been advocating for a very long time. And now I've started advocating for ovarian cancer as well, which is kind of the timing of this is really kind of funny because World Ovarian Cancer Day is on Saturday, and this week is Mental Health Awareness Week here in Canada. So everything sort of fell into place. So that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, and that's a little bit about my story of how I got here.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Now, I would say that it is cool that it's Mental Health Awareness Week there in Canada, but I would say that every week should be Mental Health Awareness Week, because there are so many people that struggle in that area of life, and there's a stigma behind it, and it's thought to be like something you don't want, and it's thought to be negative of people, but it's really not. People need help, and they should be not afraid to ask for help. You know, Les Brown says that you ask for help, and you ask for help until you get that help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong, and ask for help until you get it, because people just ask for it once and they assume that it's not going to come from anywhere. And it's so important that we reach out to people and we let people know that they matter, that they are important. And this world is a better place because they are in it. So I don't know. I kind of got sidetracked there for a minute.
That was beautiful.
I'm
Absolutely
sorry.
beautiful. No, don't be sorry for that. I think I agree with you 100%. You know, we've come a long way in the last few years in terms of bringing awareness to mental health, but it doesn't, we have still such a long way to go. You know, we've made it okay to talk about, but like you said, there's still a stigma around it. And you know, people are still afraid to come forward, and what that does is that you're battling these demons by yourself. And again, like you said, you know, everybody's here on purpose for a purpose. And you're not in it alone, and you should not have to go through it alone, whether it's mental illness, whether it's anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, any of these things. There's an entire community out there that can support you, that can help you, that wants to help you, that wants to see you grow and overcome these challenges and to hold your hand through that. And that's what I realized through this, you know, is that you need to take that first step. You need to play a part in your own rescue. So people can't see it, they don't know it. So if you take that first step, you know, there's going to be an entire community to catch you and guide you through that. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yes. There. All right. It said, I forget who said it, but a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So reaching out to a certain person can help you take that entire journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you have to do is reach out to one person, because there are so many people that are out there to help you. So I need to say hello to a few people that are watching with us. So hi to Ben Bruce. He is actually watching us from Nigeria, Kenya, or Nigeria, Africa, I believe. And then we have my eighth grade homeroom teacher, Mr. Darner.
Mm-hmm.
We have my dad, and we have Eric Schroyer and Kim Gillum Steele, who is going to be on the show next week. And then we have Josh Tidwell. So we thank you guys so much for watching with us. Don't be afraid to ask as many questions as you would like, and I will try very hard to get them answered on the show. And if I don't get them answered while you're here, I will reach out to you afterward and get that question answered. So we appreciate everything that you guys do, but we would like to go ahead and jump in with the show here. So if you would like to go through what I know, I asked you about a couple of things that were adversities. What obstacles did you face in life? And I know you have some powerful obstacles that you face, and you have learned to rise and thrive. So I'm hoping you can teach and tell a little bit about those.
Absolutely. So I'll start maybe with the most recent one that's really affected me was the ovarian cancer. So I was diagnosed at the age of 33, which was 2 years ago. And prior to that, I considered myself to be a very healthy person. I never really had any health issues. I was very active, had a healthy lifestyle. So the news came as a shock. And by the time that I was diagnosed, my tumor was 16 centimeters. So it was quite large. And I went into surgery within a week. They removed the tumor, and after that I had to go through chemotherapy. So that was probably the toughest battle I had to go through. Was the type of chemotherapy that I was doing was very intense. So it was every day. So the one cycle was 3 weeks. So I was there Monday to Friday, pretty much 9 to 5. So I was very sick during that period of time. I lost all my hair. That was also as a woman, you know, it becomes part of your identity. So that was the moment that I realized that, you know, I'm actually very ill, and you know, this is something, this is real. You know, I was kind of not, I was in denial. Like I was very hopeful. You know, I was at the beginning I couldn't accept it because I it just didn't make sense to me. So as I was going through it, I was kind of processing what was happening, and things got better for about 6 months. And then through my blood work, they noticed that my tumor markers were elevated again. So they saw that the cancer had come back. They weren't sure at this point where it had come back because they couldn't see it anywhere on the scans. So at that point, they said, we need to get you back immediately on chemotherapy. We don't know if it's going to work at this point in time. It's going to, we're looking for an act of God at this point to bring those markers down. So that's when I really had to face my mortality and sort of, it really changes your life when you're 33 years old and you're living life in the fast lane. Everything's going well for you. You're starting to get momentum at work. You're traveling the world. You think you're healthy, and then suddenly you get hit by something like this, and you become aware of the concept of time and how much time you actually have here, and you realize how fragile life really is, and that at any moment it can really be taken away from you. So that's where my whole view on my life changed, and that's where I did things differently in order to sort of follow my purpose and wanting to help others, because I don't believe that you need to hit rock bottom every single time to learn a lesson. I really don't. I unfortunately did go through that, but I learned a lot through it as well. And I want to share that with people because I believe that, my story can be someone else's survival guide. That if it can help, even bits and pieces, whether you're going through cancer or not, there's a certain mental strength that comes from that you need to develop to get through challenges. And that's what I learned through this experience.
Yes, I have noticed that people that go through challenges, go through adversities, or whatever you want to call them, they develop this mental fortitude
Mm.
that they can just handle all kinds of things. Now, I didn't face cancer, but I was involved in a serious car accident. I was in a coma 2.5 months, and I was
Wow.
told I wouldn't walk again afterward. But I'm here now because I knew I developed that mental fortitude, and I just refused to listen to what other people said. So what did people around you, what were they saying about your battle?
Well, thanks for sharing that, first of all, Jeff. That's so powerful. And you are such a strong person. So I really admire you for that. And it does take a certain amount of mental strength for sure. And I think, there was so much uncertainty surrounding my diagnosis and my illness. And at the time, I only confined to a few people that I was very close to who had gone through cancer as well, because I felt like they were the ones who could understand the journey that I was going through. And one of my very close friends, he survived brain cancer, and he was sort of helping me through this. Yes, and I looked up to him so much. So the second time I got, the news that my cancer had come back, I called him, and I was very emotional, and I was hoping that he would say, "Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." And he kind of gave me a bit of a reality check that I needed. He was like, "Well, you need to face your mortality. This is something that you need to go through, that wave of emotions. There's no way around it." And it forced me to really connect with myself and to sort of really rethink things through and push through that. And I think what really helped me get through was the mindset that I had developed as an athlete growing up. So I grew up doing competitive sports. So, when you do sports, you're constantly pushing your body to the limits. And it is a mental game as well, because you have to mentally push your body, because your body gets tired. So it's your mind that's going to keep you going through that. And that was a bit how I handled, my second round of battle with cancer. Was I really had to treat it like I was running a race, and you don't stop. You just keep pushing through that. And, I was very lucky to have the support that I had in the community. And a lot of people came and just supported me when I announced it on social media that I was going through this, the outpour of love and care that came from people just saying, I want to be able to drive you to an appointment, or I want to be there for you. Can I make you a meal? Like the little things in life that you struggle with at that time, it just meant a lot. And it made me realize that I'm not fighting this alone, that there's an entire army of people behind me. And That is powerful. That is very powerful. And I want to bring that back to mental health because, again, sometimes we're afraid to sort of put ourselves out there, but it's a lot easier to do it with a community if you have somebody who can hold your hand through it and fight with you. So I think that's very powerful.
Yes, I have, there's a common theme between my guests on here. Now, a lot of us, I should say, tell that they had a strong support system, a system around them that wouldn't let them go any lower because they lifted them up. How important is it for people to have a support system that isn't going to pull them down and lifts them up instead, or helps them rise so they can shine?
I love that. I think it's absolutely crucial. It's crucial. And I think that the type of people that you seek is also very important because there's this saying that says, you're the five people you hang out with, that is who you're going to become. So if you're hanging out with five people who are constantly negative, guess what? You're going to be the sixth one. So you need to make sure that you find people that are where you want to go. So that's why for me, mentorship was so important, is that you need to find people who are not only going to push you to where you need to be better, but that can see your potential and pull you there. Sometimes you need to have those hard conversations, and you need those people who are really, really going to give it to you real, but be there to support you, whether it's good or ugly. That those are the people you want. So really, you know, be be aware of who you're choosing to surround yourself with. It does have an impact, whether you realize it or not, in your everyday life. It really makes a difference, and you get to choose that. We have the option to choose who we want in our lives. So you build those relationships, build it with the people that you want, that you know are going to be there for you during the ups and the downs. It's really, those are the people you want to keep around.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you answering that question. Now, guys, you are watching Make Every Second Count Live with me, Jeff Marconette Jr. And my guest tonight, Diana Ash, is a two-time ovarian cancer survivor that has suffered through some mental illness. And we're talking a little bit about that tonight. So I'm hoping you guys can join in the conversation and ask as many questions as you'd like to ask, and put all the PowerPoints that you take away from this conversation in the comments. I would absolutely love that. So I have to ask, because I watched my grandma go through cancer.
Mhm.
How was chemo for you?
It was the worst thing I've ever gone through, to be quite honest. After the surgery, I was in shock, and I was very anxious about the surgery because I never had surgery in my life, so I didn't really know what to expect. But you're under anesthetic, so you don't feel it. You wake up, everything's done, but you're in pain. And it took me 3 weeks to recover from that because I had a scar. But the surgeon told me, she said, the hard part is going to be the chemo. She's like, especially the type of chemo that you're getting. It's a short period of chemo, so it was only for about 5 months, but it was intense during those 5 months. The fact that it was given every day. The thing that I didn't know about chemo before I even was diagnosed with cancer is that there are different types for different cancers, right? So sometimes you can go in once a month, sometimes you can, and it depends on the type of chemo drug that they're giving you. Some of them, the side effects are a lot stronger than others. So I was extremely nauseous. I was vomiting all the time. I was so tired. And for someone who was a track and field athlete who was running all the time, I couldn't even get out of bed. At one point, I was so stubborn that when I got there, the chemo floor was on the second floor. So at the beginning, I always made a point. I was like, I will take the stairs to go there. I do not want to take the elevator. And by the third day, I was crawling up those stairs to the point that I got up to the second floor, and the nurse, she had to catch me because I couldn't hold myself. And then they said, we're going to bring a wheelchair to bring you in. And I was like, I'm not going in a wheelchair. I just need a moment. But I had to admit to myself that this is really taking a toll on my body. And it was like that for a very long time after as well. By the time my body sort of rebuilt itself, and even now I still have some side effects from the chemotherapy that are long lasting, and I don't know how long they'll last. They could last a lifetime as well. So it is a very difficult treatment to go through for sure.
Yes, that is crazy. I am thankful that you made it through that and you were able to help other people now. But I have to ask, since this show is about helping other people, do you have any suggestions for other people that maybe had that diagnosis just recently or have been dealing with it for a while? Do you have any suggestions for them to beat it and kick it in the butt?
Yeah, so my message is always never lose hope. You never lose hope, and regardless of what anybody tells you, regardless of what the doctors even tell you. Because sometimes meeting with the doctors, those conversations are very dark. So if you let that get to your mind, it will affect you. So hope, as long as you are breathing, you are living and you are fighting and you do not stop. Because as soon as you start thinking that it's over and that you give up, your body starts giving up as well. So you need to stay strong in here. And a lot of times the chemo drugs affect your emotions as well too. So it becomes even harder. So you never give up hope. And like I mentioned, what helped me get through that was my athlete mentality. And to break that down for you, you need to have clarity. You need to know, you need to have a compelling future. Like you need to know where you're going. So, envision that. Envision that you're going to get through this, and this is where you're going to be once you get through that. You need that clarity, and then you need that discipline to do the things that you need to do when it's hard. It was hard for me to get out of bed. It really was. But on those days, I made a point to get up and walk. Even if it was 5 or 10 minutes, you do it. That's discipline. So you got clarity, you got discipline, and then you got to be consistent. So you just got to keep doing it.
I absolutely love that point. So that point again, guys, was never lose hope. And another point she had was consistency. You just have to keep doing it. So I understand things might be hard, and I'm trying to help people out with that, but they need to just keep doing it and never lose hope. So I know you also told me about fertility treatments.
Yes. Yes.
Can can you explain a little bit about those for the people that don't know, like myself?
Sure. And again, I was diagnosed at the age of 33. So, like I guess the group that I really try to reach out to is adolescents and young adults who are affected by cancer, because it is it's no long cancer, no longer a disease of the old age. We're seeing more and more younger people getting diagnosed with cancer. And a lot of times, people who are adolescents or young adults are at the point in their lives where they're building their careers. They're trying to get that next promotion. They're trying to build their families. They're getting married. They're thinking of having kids, and suddenly you get hit by cancer, and you think you have time until you don't have time. And I didn't know this at the time, but when I went in after my surgery for my follow-up appointment before my chemotherapy, the doctor, she told me, she's like, you need to go to the fertility clinic to see if we can preserve some eggs, because the chemotherapy could damage basically your chances. You could be infertile by the time we're done with this treatment. So you could go straight into menopause. And the other thing that they told me, they said, you have 24 hours to do this, because we're not going to delay your chemotherapy for this. So suddenly you're put on a timeline and you got to go do this. And given the fact that I had ovarian cancer, they couldn't retrieve the eggs at the time. So my only option was to take hormone injections throughout chemotherapy. So not only are you dealing with the side effects of chemotherapy, but you're dealing with hormone therapy as well, which again plays with your emotions and your body as you're going through that. So that was an added challenge. But the message was that, we're going to wait 1 year after chemotherapy, which for me was in March. And then we're going to try to do the fertility treatments, which is again, For guys and girls, it's a bit different. So for women, you're more on a timeline, and it's a lot more invasive, the procedure that they have to go through, and there's a lot of testing to be done in order to do that. And I don't know in the US, but in Canada, like the cost for that again is a lot more if you're a woman as well, because the procedure is different steps that you got to go through. So not only have you been out of work for 2 years trying to survive cancer, but now you have to think of whether you want this option of having your own children. And if you do, you have to go through this whole physical exam again to see if that's possible. And you also have to go through this financial stress where you need to come up with the money in order to be able to pay for these treatments. So that's the challenges of, cancer doesn't end when you go in remission. It's that the reality of it is that there's so many long-term side effects. One of them is fertility. And there's other stuff as well. Like one of the chemo drugs have left me with permanent lung damage. So, part of my follow-ups is every year I have to go for a lung test now to make sure that my lungs are still okay. So there is long-term damage from that, and you don't see it, right? Because people see me now and they're like, oh, you're doing so good. You have your energy back. You're walking, you're running. So, they don't see the fertility treatment that's happening on the side, or everything that sort of happened because I had to go through cancer.
Yes, that is, oh, wow. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm just so thankful that you made it through and everything, and are able to talk to people and help other people through the same kind of situation. So I heard you talking about adolescence.
Yes.
Now, this is my journal. This journal is called Make Every Second Count, a 1,500-hour journal. And it is designed for kids 11 through 19 years of age. And it is to help them live with more perspective in life so things don't bother them near as much. And it shows them how to live with more gratitude in life too. So it's one of those things that it really will help kids, because I found out that the ages of 15 to 19, the second leading cause of death for those ages is suicide.
Yeah.
I'm like, because
It's so sad. It's so sad because you have your whole life ahead of you, and I was at a point as well where I had very dark thoughts throughout, my university age. So I was early 20s where I was very depressed. And, it makes me sad to see that the younger generation is really struggling with depression and suicide to that
yeah,
point.
yeah. When I was that age, I never had any thoughts like that. I never struggled with anything like that. And which I didn't have to live through this social media stuff, and I didn't have to deal with the people. I mean, a lot of people now have to go through bullying and stuff online, and I didn't have to deal with that stuff. I was so lucky. But you can actually go and check out my journal, and this goes for everyone out there. And my journal will help kids 11 to 19, and that's who it is originally designed for. But I have come to realize that it will help each and every person out there if they just put in the work. And you can actually download the first 7 days of that journal for free. All you have to do is go to my website, and the address is there on the screen. But in case you can't see it right now, it's www.jeff, Marconette, Marconette Jr, jr.com/journal, and you can download the first 7 days for free. All you have to do is enter some information. And then if you like it after that, you can actually purchase the journal there. Or if you don't want to purchase it there, go to Amazon. And if you don't want to purchase it there, go to your Kindle. You can get it anywhere you want to. I just want people to have this tool in their arsenal. And I really appreciate you letting me go through my spiel here on the show.
Absolutely. I love that you do this, Jeff. I think it's so important to have those tools, and to make it available for that age group. Sometimes it's hard to reach out to a person. So getting your hands on a journal, if that can guide you, I think that's so powerful. So thank you so much for sharing that with people.
Yes, not a problem. And I hope everybody goes out there and gets it. Not because I make money from it. That doesn't bother
Mm.
me. The thing is I want to help people. And I believe that kids these days are they don't have the tools, the foundational tools that they need in life. Now, whether that is because there's a lack of a father in the house, there's a lack of a mother in the house, or both parents are out working, or both parents are out of work and they're going through something really bad. I want to help people get better at those things. So I know that we talked about. I'm trying to think now. Survivor. What did you call it?
Survivorship?
Um, it was like survivorship guilt or something.
Oh, the guilt. Yeah, survivorship guilt. Yeah.
Now, now, can you talk a little bit about that and let everybody know about what that is?
Sure. Yeah. So I didn't know actually what this was until, I started having these feelings, and I have a cancer coach. So she definitely helps me through like the emotional aftermath of cancer, right? During my treatments, I was really more in survival mode just to get through. But after that, I had to process a lot of emotions of the experience that I had gone through. And part of that, and apparently this is quite normal for cancer survivors, is that there's a survivor's guilt that sort of lingers around where, you've gone through this experience and you've seen a lot of different things. You've seen people who have survived cancer and you have seen people who haven't. And sometimes you are reintegrated into this world and you wonder, it's that thought process that goes into your mind, and like, well, how come I get to make it and my friend here who's sitting next to me doesn't? And there's that guilt that sits in. It's like, well, I'm still here. Or you're seeing someone who, is at the end of life, and you're like, well, how come I got to make it and this person doesn't get to make it? And these are real feelings, and they linger, and you get exposed to a community of people who are going through cancer. Cancer is affecting so many people nowadays. Everybody knows somebody who has cancer or had cancer. So when you go through that journey and you make it, I'm forever blessed that I have made it, and I'm so grateful every single day that I wake up and that I'm here and I'm healthy. But there is that survivor's guilt that does linger around, especially when you see what other people are going through.
Man. Yes, I can relate to that. I mean, well, I really can't relate to that, but I have a friend that I know went through stuff similar to this, and I really appreciate you coming on here to talk about all this stuff. I realize that this stuff has to be kind of hard for you to talk about, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your story, and I appreciate what you do in trying to help people.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and thank you so much for having me on here and for
It,
everything that you do as well. It really inspires me, and I know you're helping so many people by doing what you do through your journal, through your show, and you're such an inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any contact information that you'd like to give out to the audience?
Sure, I use social media. I use Facebook mostly. So you can find me on Facebook under Diana Ash. And I try to do interviews on there to bring different kinds of people, cancer survivors or not, just to share stories about hope and how to overcome challenges, and just talking about daily struggles that we're going through to make it an okay platform to share ideas and share hope and just everyday conversations to uplift people. So if you want more of that, I usually do that on Facebook, and I try to put some motivational posts as well on there to sort of uplift everybody.
Yes, well, that is amazing. Now, do you happen to have like a website or anything?
I don't have a website
So
actually. I
just
only use,
Facebook, huh?
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that works. I'm happy that people are going to be able to figure that out pretty easy. And as you see, her name is Diana Ash, Diana Ash is ASH in case you don't know. But we thank you guys so much. If you're watching the replay, please put hashtag replay down there in the comments. But I would like to say hi to Leah, hi to Tanya, hi to Walt, hi to Brittany, and thank you so much. And Kim Gillum Steele said, God bless you, Diana. You are a rock star.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your support and watching this. Really appreciate every single one of you, and I appreciate you, Jeff, as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, and everybody out there, including you, needs to do me a favor this week, next week, and the rest of your life. You need to remember to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, you guys have a great night. I'll see you back here next Tuesday. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where I will have Kim Gillum Steele. Have a great night.